Real people, real confessions, the stories you weren't supposed to hear. Welcome to Beyond Reddit Stories. I still remember the exact moment my phone buzzed. It was late, almost midnight, and I was scrolling mindlessly, half asleep, when a notification popped up. "Hi, I think I'm your mother." At first, I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. I mean, my mother was asleep in the next room. The woman who raised me, tucked me in when I was sick, cheered at every school play. That was my mother. I almost deleted the message, convinced it was a scam, but then something made me pause. The sender's profile picture, an older woman with kind eyes, felt strangely familiar, like a face I'd seen in a dream, or a photograph I didn't remember taking. I clicked. Her message continued. "We've never met, but I've been looking for you for years. You recently took a DNA test. I think it's matched us. You're my daughter." My chest tightened. I'd taken that DNA test months ago, as a joke. My friends and I wanted to compare Ancestry results, see who had the weirdest family origins. I'd never imagined it could lead to this. I told myself it wasn't possible. I told myself this woman was mistaken, but deep down, some quiet, buried instinct whispered, "What if she's telling the truth?" And that's when my entire world split into before and after. Before that message, my life was ordinary, predictable. I'm 29, living in a small apartment in Portland, working as a graphic designer. My days were a comfortable loop coffee in the morning, long hours staring at a screen, dinner with my dad, sometimes my mom, when she wasn't working late at the hospital. I loved my family, or at least, I loved the version of them I thought I knew. Dad was the quiet type, steady, reliable. Mom was the opposite, warm, loud, always filling the kitchen with the smell of cinnamon rolls on Sundays. They never gave me a reason to question where I came from. But looking back now, there were moments, tiny, almost invisible cracks that I ignored, like the time in high school when a substitute teacher asked if I was adopted, because my hair was so much darker than my parents'. Or the way Mom always changed the subject when I brought up family medical history. I thought it was just privacy. Every family has their boundaries, right? The DNA test had been nothing more than a curiosity, a late-night purchase after watching a friend share his surprising Ancestry results. I mailed the kit, forgot about it, and laughed when the email came weeks later showing I was 40% something or other from regions I'd never even visited. But then, I noticed something odd in the report. A close family match, someone I didn't recognize at all. The site called it a parent-child level connection. I closed my laptop quickly, convincing myself it was some kind of error. I didn't tell Mom or Dad, maybe because, deep down, part of me didn't want to know the answer. And then came the message, the stranger's face, the claim that would take my safe, ordinary life and shatter it like glass. The first thing I did after reading her message was nothing. I locked my phone, tossed it on the couch, and tried to pretend it didn't happen. But pretending lasted all of 20 minutes, because she sent another message, then another, each one carefully worded, almost apologetic. "I'm sorry to reach out like this. I've been searching for you since the day you were born. I know this must be a shock, but I can prove it." Attached were 3 images. The first, a faded hospital photo of a newborn, swaddled in a pink blanket, no name, no date. Just the soft blur of a sleeping face. The second, an old driver's license. The woman in the photo had the same angular jawline I see in the mirror every morning. The third, something that made my breath catch, a scanned birth certificate. My birth date, my first name, but under mother, a name I had never heard before. My stomach flipped. I told myself it could be fake. I wanted it to be fake. But the more I looked, the more real it felt. And in the pit of my stomach, a sick, heavy feeling began to grow. I called my dad. "Hey, Dad, can I ask you something? Was I adopted?" Silence, not confusion, not surprise, just silence. And then, "We'll talk when your mom gets home." When Mom finally came through the door that night, her face was pale. She didn't ask about my day, didn't even take off her coat. She just sat down across from me and folded her hands. "What happened?" I asked. She looked at Dad. He looked at the floor. And then she said the words that made my heart pound in my ears. She contacted you, didn't she? It wasn't a question, it was a statement. That's when I realized. They already knew. I demanded answers. My voice was shaking, loud. But beneath the anger was something worse, fear. Because the way they were looking at me, it wasn't the look of people trying to deny something. It was the look of people who've been carrying a truth for so long. They can't remember what it feels like to be free of it. Dad finally spoke. It's complicated. Mom's eyes welled up. We were going to tell you one day. We just didn't know when. The air in the room felt heavy, almost unbreathable. My ordinary life was gone. I couldn't unhear what I'd just heard. I couldn't go back to before the message, before the pictures, before the truth started bleeding through the cracks. I knew then I had to meet her, even if it destroyed everything. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, the woman from the photo, looking straight at me, like she was waiting for me to answer a question I didn't understand. By morning, I'd made up my mind. I sent her a short message, let's meet. Her reply came within minutes. A cafe downtown, tomorrow at 11. When I walked in, the smell of burnt coffee hit me first. Then I saw her sitting alone at a corner table, hands wrapped around a mug like she was afraid to let go. She looked older than her photo, but not weaker. Her eyes, God, her eyes, they were mine. Hi, I said, my voice barely more than a whisper. She stood up slowly, like she was afraid sudden movement would scare me away. Hi. For a few seconds, we just stared at each other. The cafe noise faded. It was like the air between us had its own weight. I don't know where to start, she said, her voice trembling. How about the truth? I replied. She told me everything. That she'd been 19, living in a small town, with parents who believed her pregnancy was a shame to the family. That they sent her away to a home for unwed mothers, where her child me was taken the moment I was born. She tried to fight. She said, but no one listened. She never even got to hold me. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to say she should have tried harder, run away, done something. But looking at her shaking hands, I couldn't, because there was more. She leaned closer, her voice dropping. Your adoptive father. He knew me. We went to the same high school. The words landed like a punch. What? I didn't know they had adopted you until years later. When I realized, I thought maybe you were better off. But then I saw your DNA match, and I couldn't stay silent anymore. My mind was spinning. Dad knew her, knew who I really was. And for nearly 3 decades, he said nothing. I felt something inside me crack, not just the version of my parents I'd grown up with, but the foundation of every memory I'd ever had. She reached for my hand. I don't expect you to forgive me. I need you to know you were never unwanted. I pulled my hand back, not because I didn't believe her, but because I couldn't process it all at once. The cafe walls felt too close. My chest felt too tight. In that moment, I realized this wasn't just about meeting her. It was about deciding who I was going to be. Now that I knew the truth and whether I could live with the lies that had built my life until now. It's been 6 months since that day in the cafe. I wish I could say everything is fixed, that we hugged, cried, and became one big happy family. But that's not the truth. The truth is, it's messy. Healing always is. I still see her, my biological mother, once or twice a month. We talk. We share small details about our lives, like strangers learning each other's language for the first time. Some days it feels warm, some days it feels awkward. But it's real. With my parents, the ones who raised me, it's been harder. There were weeks when I didn't answer their calls. I needed space to breathe, to understand how love and betrayal could exist in the same room. And slowly, painfully, I've come to see that both can be true at once. One night, I asked my dad why he never told me. He didn't defend himself. He just said, I was afraid you'd look at me differently. And maybe I do. But I also see now that fear can twist good intentions into silence. Here's what I've learned. The truth can hurt more than the lie ever did. But it can also free you in ways you didn't know you needed. Knowing who I am, all of who I am, hasn't destroyed me. It's made me stronger. So I'll leave you with this. If you discovered that your family wasn't who you thought they were, would you want to know? Or would you choose to live in the comfort of not asking? If you've made it this far into my story, maybe it's because something in it felt familiar. Maybe you felt the weight of a truth you weren't ready to face. Or maybe you're still carrying a question you're afraid to ask. I want to hear your story. Have you ever uncovered a secret about your family that changed the way you see everything? What did you do with that truth? Share it in the comments, not for me, but for the people out there who might be standing where I once stood, afraid to take that first step. And if this story made you really think about your own life, hit the subscribe button and stay with me. This channel is where we explore the things most people are too afraid to talk about, because the truth is only scary when you face it alone. I'll leave you with this: the past can't be rewritten, but the future, that's still yours to choose.